Hey everyone, Julian here. Today I wanted to make a little video where I show you some tips about how to make your subs sound a little bit better and just sort of, give them a little bit more flavor, I guess, and make them just less boring. So, I'm going to show you a few tips. So, right now I have Operator open. I'm going to show you a bunch of techniques. They can go over to other synths, but I just want to use Operator because it's pretty standard. So the first thing you can do is like a little bit of FM synthesis can tend to sound good. So if I just have right now I just have this basic sine wave, just like a low note. I'm playing F and G. And if I start bringing in this oscillator and just keep it in the same whatever it's called, in the same octave as the other one, we still have like a pretty deep and thick tone, but we get a little bit more harmonic content on top. Let me see if I can get it to come up on the spectrum. So here's without it. It's just that one tone. Okay, so yeah, you can see when I bring this in, we get some more harmonics on top. If I bring it in more, then we'll get even more. But, around like that is pretty good for a sub. And what this is going to do is these higher harmonics are going to make this bass a little bit easier to hear on like other systems. And what it's also going to do is it's going to help glue it with all your other elements. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But anyway, so that's one method you can do. Another thing that you can actually do is you can just use a sine wave. So if I turn this off and put a little bit of saturation on it, so I'm going to get this a bit warmer preset for saturator. If you've seen my videos, you've definitely seen this one before. But if we put this on here, it's doing the same or a similar thing. Obviously it doesn't sound the same, but if I get the spectrum again, so you can see what it's doing is it's adding some more harmonic content around like here. And I mean, you can stack these too. People don't seem to like it when I do that, but you can do that. And it's just a similar thing. By adding more harmonic sort of like content, I guess, to your sounds with this saturation, it's going to make it easier to hear, and it's going to help it sort of glued together with the other elements. Now, there's a few things that you can do with this technique as well. The sort of idea of taking like a really, like a very, like I said, subby sound, but something that has a little bit more harmonic content. So what you can do is you could actually use like a respace as well, like a very simple one. So I'm going to go in here and change this to the algorithm where they're just playing all separately and they're not doing any FM, any frequency modulation, I guess. And I'm going to change my first oscillator to a saw wave, and I'm going to turn up the second one, and then I'm also going to turn that to a saw wave. And then on the second one, I'm going to mess with the fine tune a little bit. So it'll be sounding like this at this point. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the filter, and we're just going to keep everything default, low pass filter, 24 dB per octave of attenuation, all that. And then I'm going to start turning down this frequency. And you can get it to like about there. And you see, this looks very similar to some of the other sounds we were making before. But now we have all this movement, and we have all these, you can see all these harmonics bouncing around as well. So this is like, you could use this as a sub totally in your tracks. Like, let's say if you had like, here, let me make these in a rack. Let's say if you had like 2 layers. So you had like your sub, which was this, and then I'll grab another operator, and we'll just make that like a saw wave with a little bit of a low pass filter. And then I'll put this EQ on that and do a little low cut. Okay, so now we have this layer, and this is just like an example. And then this layer, which is the sub. And so let me show you the difference if I do like just a basic sine wave versus this. So here's the basic sine wave, and then here's with this respace. So you can see it's considerably more interesting. It gives you a little bit more texture to your tracks, It just is like ways to take it to the next level is like really what I'm trying to show you guys. It's like, this works. And you see, check this out too. If this is just a basic sine wave, but if I bring in that, then it sort of glues these together. This is what I was talking about. it feels like they're more of one because there's less like space between where they're sort of happening harmonically, I guess. And then I'll put the a bit warmer on top of that. And yeah, so we have like a powerful sub that you can also play in the lower regions. Another good thing about this, like adding harmonics to your subs, is that just a sine wave doesn't really work so well below like a certain point. Like right now I'm playing F. What octave is this? Oh, whoops. Okay, I'm playing F0, and like pretty much anything lower is kind of like, you know, impossible to hear. But if we add this on here, so now I can start playing a little bit lower. And you can see those lower notes work. And you can even get pretty low before it starts to get weird. So that's another good thing. Like if your song is in a key where the sub doesn't work so well because like there's too many low notes or maybe too many high notes or something, you can play around with the octaves and then put this kind of stuff on your sub, and it'll still be super powerful in those lower regions. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. I just want to make this quick video and show you some tips on these because I've gotten a few questions. As always, let me know what you think in the comments. Like this video, subscribe, share the video if you felt very compelled to, I guess. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow for another tutorial. Goodbye.